whispering. There was something wrong with the old house on the hill, and everyone in the village knew it, except for Marcus, the new caretaker. Marcus, a young man down on his luck, takes the job of looking after a centuries-old mansion. He arrives at the house one stormy evening. The house is eerily silent except for the occasional creaks and groans. As Marcus explores the house, he stumbles upon a locked room. The door is ancient, with deep scratches on the wood as if something or someone tried to claw their way out. The key sits right there in the lock, but for some reason, Marcus hesitates to turn it.
I should probably leave this alone, for now.
Instead, he leaves it alone and tries to focus on his duties, but he can't shake the feeling of being watched. At night, a strange sound begins to echo through the halls. It's faint, but it's there. A steady, rhythmic ticking noise like the ticking of a clock coming from behind the walls. The mystery deepens.
Where is that sound coming from? I can't find anything.
Marcus searches for the source of the ticking, but finds nothing. His sleep is disturbed by dreams of someone trapped in the walls, calling out to him. The sound grows louder each night until it's impossible to ignore.
I can't take this anymore. I have to find out what's behind that door.
Finally, he decides to open the locked door. Inside, there's no sign of a clock, only an old, dusty room filled with cobwebs and decayed furniture. But the ticking grows even louder inside the room, coming from the far wall.
It's even louder in here. What on earth is it?
The discovery.
I have to know what's behind this wallpaper.
Marcus, driven by curiosity and fear, begins to tear at the old wallpaper.
What is that? Oh no, it can't be.
Behind the panel, to his horror, he finds a small compartment with an old rusty clock. And something far more terrifying, the skeletal remains of a woman clutching the clock in her bony fingers.
Oh my God, what happened here?
The haunting climax. The ticking suddenly stops, plunging the room into an oppressive silence.
What just happened? Why did it stop?
Marcus feels a cold hand on his shoulder. He spins around, but there's no one there. The air becomes thick, suffocating.
Set me free! Set me free!
The clock begins ticking again, faster and faster. The walls close in as Marcus is overwhelmed with fear. He drops the clock, which shatters on the floor.
No, 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 get away from me.
The woman's spirit appears in the room, her face twisted in agony.
Please leave me alone.
The final twist. As Marcus stumbles out of the room, he hears the ticking once more, now following him throughout the house. The sound is inside his head, growing louder and louder.
I have to get out of here. I can't take this anymore.
He tries to escape the mansion, but the front door won't budge. The sound is unbearable, and Marcus realizes to his horror that the ticking will never stop.
No, it can't be. It just can't.
The clock never stopped, and neither did the terror for anyone who dared to listen. The mansion fell silent, but the ticking remained. Days turned into weeks, and Marcus's fate became a ghost story told among the locals. Yet the house on the hill held more secrets than anyone could imagine. Despite the silence that had settled over the old mansion, the ticking noise continued to haunt its halls. It was as if the house itself was alive, its heart beating in time with the relentless ticking. One stormy night, a group of paranormal investigators decided to explore the house, driven by the tales of Marcus and the mysterious ticking. As they navigated the dark corridors, their flashlights flickered, casting long, eerie shadows on the walls. Did you hear that? It sounds like it's coming from behind this wall. Following the sound, they discovered an old, dusty mirror. It looked ordinary at first, but upon closer inspection, one of the investigators noticed a small latch hidden behind the frame. With a creak, the mirror swung open, revealing a narrow, dimly lit passageway. The air was thick with dust and the scent of old wood. The ticking noise grew louder, echoing through the hidden corridor. What lay at the end of this passage? And could it finally explain the mysterious ticking that had haunted the house for so long? The answers awaited in the darkness as the investigators stepped into the unknown. As the investigators cautiously moved through the narrow passageway, the ticking noise grew louder, almost deafening. Their hearts pounded in their chests, matching the relentless rhythm. This passage seems endless. Do you think it's safe to continue? The air was cold and damp, and the walls seemed to close in on them. Just as they were about to turn back, the passage opened up into a hidden chamber shrouded in darkness. The room was filled with ancient artifacts, covered in dust and cobwebs. In the center of the chamber, an ornate grandfather clock stood, its hands moving in sync with the ticking sound. On the floor, on the right side of the clock, an old but hauntingly realistic doll with black hair and white as ice face and blue eyes stared at them, making them all feel like the doll was ready to speak with them. The hair on their arms and necks stood up. Look at that clock. It's like it's been waiting for us. As they approached the clock, the ticking grew even louder, reverberating through their very bones. The investigators exchanged nervous glances, unsure of what to do next. Suddenly the clock's face began to glow, illuminating the chamber with an eerie light. A ghostly figure appeared, its eyes filled with sorrow and desperation. The spirit's voice echoed through the chamber, pleading for help. The investigators realized that the ticking was not just a sound, but a desperate cry for release. What had trapped this spirit in the old house? And how could they help? The answers lay within the hidden chamber, waiting to be uncovered. The fate of the spirit and the secret of the ticking rested in their hands. The ghostly figure's presence enveloped the chamber, its sorrowful eyes fixated on the investigators. The air grew thick with an ancient, oppressive energy. The spirit's voice resonated once more, recounting a tale of betrayal and vengeance. Long ago, a curse had been placed upon the house, trapping the souls of the innocent within its walls. We have to break this curse. But how? The spirit pointed towards the grandfather clock, now glowing with an intense, otherworldly light. The investigators understood that the clock was the key to unraveling the curse. As they examined the clock, they discovered hidden symbols etched into its frame, each representing a piece of the curse's dark history. Deciphering these symbols would be their only hope. With the weight of the spirit's plea upon them, the investigators knew they had to act quickly. The ancient curse had to be broken, or the spirits would remain trapped forever. The room seemed to pulse with energy, urging them onward. A slight scream of a young girl could be heard in the halls. The fate of the house and the souls within now rested upon their shoulders. Would they succeed in lifting the ancient curse, or would they become the next victims of its relentless grip? The investigators stood before the glowing grandfather clock, their hearts pounding with anticipation. The symbols etched into its frame seemed to pulse with a life of their own, revealing fragments of a dark and twisted history. As they began to decipher the ancient symbols, a sense of dread washed over them. Each symbol told a story of pain, betrayal, and an unending cycle of suffering. "We can do this," the paranormal investigators said with a trembling, weak voice. "We have to break the curse for the spirits and for ourselves. Our future depends on it." With each symbol they deciphered, the clock's light grew stronger, illuminating the chamber with an otherworldly glow. The air crackled with energy, and the spirit's presence grew more palpable. Suddenly, the ground beneath them began to tremble, and a deafening roar echoed through the chamber. The clock's hands spun wildly, and the investigators realized they were running out of time. In a final, desperate push, they deciphered the last symbol. The clock's light exploded in a blinding flash, and the spirit's anguished wail filled the room. As the dust settled, the investigators found themselves standing in a silent, empty room. The spirit was gone, and the oppressive energy had lifted. They had succeeded, but the memory of their harrowing journey would haunt them forever. The investigators stood in the now silent chamber, their breaths coming in slow, measured gasps. The once ominous grandfather clock now lay shattered, its pieces scattered across the floor. The oppressive energy that had filled the room was gone, replaced by a serene stillness. They had broken the curse, but the journey had left its mark. The memories of the spirit's stories, their pain, and their pleas for justice lingered in their minds. "I think E did it. We set them free," one of the investigators said with a weak but hopeful tone. "But their stories, they won't be forgotten. They can't be forgotten." As they made their way out of the old house on the hill, the sun began to rise, casting a warm glow over the landscape. The house, once a place of darkness and despair, now stood as a silent testament to the spirit's release. Somehow the investigators knew their work was far from over. There were other mysteries to uncover, other spirits in need of help. But for now, they took a moment to reflect on their journey and the lives they had touched. The ticking had stopped, but the echoes of the past would guide them on their future quests. The resolution was not just an end, but a beginning. Weeks had passed since the investigators left the old house on the hill. The shadows of their journey lingered, each moment etched into their memories like a haunting melody. Though they had broken the curse, the town itself bore the scars of its dark history. The locals, once skeptical, now whispered tales of the investigators' bravery, their fear slowly giving way to hope. It's strange to think of how much can change in such a short time. The house may be silent now, but its story will be remembered. The team found solace in their work, each new case a step towards understanding the mysteries that lay hidden in the world. They knew the past could never truly be erased, but perhaps it could be understood. As they moved forward, the echoes of the spirits they had freed guided them, their pleas for justice a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the power of resolve. The aftermath of their journey was a testament to the strength of the human spirit, to the unyielding quest for truth and the enduring hope for redemption. And so, with hearts heavy yet hopeful, they continued their path, ever vigilant, ever ready. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the old house on the hill, a new chapter began. Though the echoes of the past still whispered through the halls, a sense of renewal filled the air. The investigators had left their mark, not just on the house but on the town and its people. Their courage had inspired a newfound resilience, a collective strength that would guide the community forward. We've faced the darkness and come out stronger. Now it's time to rebuild, to honor the past while forging a brighter future. The old house, once a symbol of fear and mystery, was being transformed. The townspeople, united by their shared experiences, worked tirelessly to restore it, turning it into a beacon of hope and remembrance. The journey had changed them all, but it had also revealed the boundless potential of the human spirit. As they looked toward the horizon, their hearts were filled with hope, ready to embrace whatever came next. Just as the town settled into its newfound peace, a chilling reminder of the past emerged. The old grandfather clock in the house on the hill, silent for ages, began to tick once more. The sound was faint at first, almost imperceptible, but it grew louder with each passing hour. The townspeople, now accustomed to the quiet, couldn't ignore the unsettling noise. We thought we had faced all the darkness, but it seems there's more we need to uncover. We can't let this new threat undo all we've worked for. The investigators knew their work was not yet finished. The clock's ominous ticking was a call to action, a reminder that some mysteries still lingered in the shadows, waiting to be brought to light. As the clock struck midnight, the air grew thick with anticipation. The past and the present were about to collide once more. The journey was far from over. The clock had struck again, heralding a new chapter in the story of the old house on the hill. The clock's relentless ticking echoed through the old house, each second a harbinger of an impending revelation. We have 1 hour before the clock strikes again. We must find the source of this disturbance and end it once and for all. With each tick, the sense of urgency grew. The investigators raced against time, their hearts pounding in rhythm with the clock. They scoured every corner, every hidden passage, determined to uncover the truth that had eluded them for so long. This is it, the final piece of the puzzle. We can't turn back now. As the final hour approached, the investigators descended into the depths of the old house, ready to face whatever awaited them. The clock continued to tick, each second a countdown to destiny. The final hour had begun. The end was near, but so was the truth.